All right, let's start this webinar. Thank you everybody for joining this evening in Europe, morning or afternoon in other parts of the world. So that's what we would like to talk to you guys about today, creating shift rosters automatically using Mendex. We have two people in the call today. Rick, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Rick Fietsch. I'm responsible for sales in the mid-market at Mendex. I've been with Mendex for the last 8.5 years. And I'll tell a little bit more about Mendex and myself in a minute.
Perfect. Thanks, Rick. My name is Jetro Borsje. I'm CTO of Timeseries. We're a Mendex partner globally, and we're using Mendex to do digital transformation at our customers, which means we have a wide array of different applications we've been building over the years. Today, I would like to talk to you a little bit about who we are as a company, really quickly, because what we do want to get across really nice is that what Mendex is and how it can help you deliver applications faster. And we want to illustrate that with an example in the area of employee shift rostering, which I will also give you a demo for, so you will see in practice what such an application would look like. So quickly about our company. I'm working for Timeseries. We're a Mendex company. We are founded in the Netherlands, but right now we're active in the US and in Germany and in Canada as well. We are over 140 people strong, and we have a background in both big data and IoT, as well as Mendex, and we often combine these two areas together to create really smart and context-aware applications. We do this for many different companies across the world, both big and small. So this is just an illustration of companies we work for. We do this by providing two types of services. One is using Mendex to build applications fully customized for our particular customers. However, we also have a suite of reusable template applications, which accelerate the speed of innovation even faster. So one of those templates is about employee shift rostering. I will show that one to you today. And the idea behind these templates is that we see many customers having the same challenge. And we would like to, what we did is we built templates which will help you solve this in a faster way. So you don't have to think about certain business processes again. They are all embedded already in these templates, and you can just leverage them, tailor them to your needs, and then start using them. We have these template suites in various industries, ranging from manufacturing all the way up to life sciences. For now, we are talking about employee shift rostering, which you can use in different industries. In healthcare, for example, life sciences, but also in manufacturing, when you want to schedule your employees besides production lines, and you want to adhere to all kinds of rules and regulations. This employee shift rostering is very useful to have, because we can automatically create all of these schedules for you. So you always know you have the right amount of people at the right spots along the production line. Well, that's what I would like to talk to you quickly about our company. We'll go into more details for the template later. So I would like to hand it over to Rick so he can explain what Mendex is all about.
Thank you, Jetro. So I will give you a brief introduction. Well, I'm going to quickly share my screen. Give you a brief introduction about the platform and the technology that is behind all these solutions that our partner Timeseries is able to create. So this slide is not entirely accidental. So on the right, we see the building that we have our offices in. We have a floor, the 5th floor, and we recently also moved up to the 6th floor, and this is my 3rd Mendex headquarters in my Mendex career. So I've been with Mendex for 8.5 years, and the company has been around for the last 15 years, and in those 15 years there's been quite a lot of growth. So not only in Rotterdam we grew, but also over the globe. So we have offices in Boston, in London, and in Frankfurt, and we're opening up in APAC as well. So I would like to give you a brief introduction in what this platform actually does. But before that, and I think this is something that that sounds familiar to everyone, and especially with the last couple of months that we've seen, is that the rate of change is extremely high, and we're all struggling to keep up. But how we do that in relation to IT is fundamentally different than we've done previously. Because what we see is that there's a tremendous demand of applications, and that has several reasons. That has to do with all the changes that I just mentioned around us, and that's not only due to COVID-19, but also, you know, the rise of competition. There's a new generation on the employee market that simply demand these cool looking applications that they have on their mobile phones as well in their work environment as well. So that the demand for these applications, not just existing applications with new functionality, but also entirely new applications, is increasing. And then on the other hand, we have supply, and IT is doing everything that they can do. But over the last 40 years, we've created a lot of systems that need maintenance, that require a lot of resources, that are the backbone of everything that we do. So we can't make mistakes there, and that requires resources. So what we see is that the balance is becoming more and more, well, there's actually a lack of balance, and that's increasingly the case. So what we see as a solution in this supply and demand issue is that that there is there's a larger potential group of developers in the market. So traditionally, we see people on the right hand, and these are the people that have built all these great systems that we all rely on. But this is a craft. This is something that you really need to be able to do, you know, after years of study, or literally learning a different language, a coding language. And then all the way on the left hand, we see this new type of developer that are people are from the business, that are tech savvy, that are, you know, will not wait for a solution from IT, but they will actually make it themselves, whether in Excel, or they'll buy it, find it online through a SaaS solution. So these people are very tech savvy and have a lot of ideas. And what we with Mendex try to do is, and that's our vision, we try to cover this entire spectrum of potential developers in different development environments. So on the left hand, we have a no-code environment. That's an environment where entirely without code, you can build applications. It's what you see is what you get. And then in the middle, we have our traditional low-code platform or development environment, where you are also able to build applications without writing a lot of code, and also give a platform for professional developers to, when you do have that complex case, to break out the code and manage that properly in a Mendex project. So with that, we try to bring business and IT together. That's the core of everything that we do, and cover a broader spectrum of potential developers. So that brings us to a summary. We have a platform, which is a low-code development platform, where you can build web and mobile applications from the same environment, with less resources, because the traditional roles that are involved in application development or software development are automated in the platform, and I'll come back to that in the next slide. So you need less developers. And since you're constantly verifying what you are building with the business, whether that's actually the functionality that they want, because they are involved in the development process, what you build is actually first time right. So a lot of time is gained by avoiding rework. And of course, that's the third point. every application that you build will need to integrate with existing systems, which is something that we also allow. And increasingly important is cloud flexibility. So every application that you build, you can deploy to any cloud environment, whether that is Mendex Cloud or virtual private cloud or on-premise. So Jethro mentioned healthcare. Of course, these will be sensitive information, and that can be a reason to choose for a specific cloud strategy. And with Mendex, we provide any of those options. So this is where, and I won't go into this too deep, but this is all those different steps of the software development cycle, which we help automating and to speed these steps up. And this is a cycle that you constantly go through in a development cycle with the Mendex platform. And it starts at the top right with the ideation. So what are you actually going to build? And this is where we bring those two worlds, the business side with the people with the ideas, and the IT side, the people that will realize those ideas into applications together. It's an online platform where in a social way you can collaborate on functionality and ultimately define sprints and user stories. Once you've defined those, you will start developing these in a visual way, as I mentioned, and we provide those two environments for this, which we call Studio and Studio Pro, focused on those different groups. Studio focused on the citizen developer, and Studio Pro on those that professional developer. But both are visual, and you'll start developing this and then deploying that, and then we go to the bottom left to any cloud environment, as I mentioned. Of course, when you build a lot of software, you need to test that, you need to monitor that, and that's also integrated in this platform. And then this cycle starts over again, and this cycle will start over again based on the feedback of the end user, which is a crucial component of the Mendex platform. So you're always in touch with that business. So to make sure that what you build is actually what the business requires. Then the next question, of course, because this is can be a relative abstract story. So the next question is, of course, okay, what can I do with this technology? And when we look at our customers, we see four types of categories. And the one that we are currently talking about is, of course, improve operational efficiency. So how am I able to have a better use of my resources? How am I able to, build a smart rostering, in this case, system? And the majority of the cases are in that domain, where we still see that a lot of processes can be automated, whether it's manual or whether it's already in legacy software. But of course, we can do things smarter when you have a web-based application that is accessible for everyone and not just on someone's drive. So that's the one that we're discussing today, improving operational efficiency. However, because this is a platform to quickly go from an idea to an application, we also see new products being launched. We see customers that use our technology to get closer to their customer and have 24/7 support through a customer portal, for example, or provide track and trace functionality or loyalty programs. And then all the way on the right, we see that there are a lot of these core systems that have been built, which you can modernize by building Mendex applications on top of them, with all these features that we provide with mobile, with a great UX. So these types of categories we see, and of course Jethro will make this more tangible once when he shows the smart rostering solution of Timeseries. A few examples, simply because this is the city that I live in and the city that we were founded. but the municipality of Rotterdam makes use of the platform in several use cases. One that I use on a daily basis is as an inhabitor of the city of Rotterdam, I can sign up visitors for a parking spot near my house, which is on a mobile app, and it works great. And they've adopted the platform for a wide variety of applications, which I won't go in right now because we want to see the demo of Yetro. Another one, HelloFresh, again, because I'm a customer of HelloFresh. And they also use the platform pretty much end to end, from coming up with new menus and ingredients to procuring those ingredients, and then ultimately actually find a smart way to deliver the boxes to your doorstep. So this is a very high level introduction to the platform, and I would like to invite Yetro to make it more tangible. And please, if there's any questions, then let's take those at the end if necessary.
Yes, that's very good to say. Thanks, Rick. I forgot to mention that for sure. You can ask your questions in the chat window on your probably right side of the screen. We will answer all of them at the end of the session. So right now, let me go back to my screen. Yes, there we are. It's loading as we speak. So thanks, Rick, for this introduction into Mendex. Obviously, we can talk about this for hours because it's a really powerful platform and a really awesome way actually to make applications and start transforming your business. So let's dive a little bit deeper into an example of what we've built with Mendex, which is our employee shift rostering application template. And the goal of this template is to actually make sure that we schedule employees in an efficient way. So of course, this allows you to save money because you plan more efficiently, or maybe need less people to do the actual planning. And of course, it also is about making sure the people which you have inside of your company, you utilize them in the most efficient manner. So why did we start on this journey of making an application which is automating planning in general? Because creating planning is actually pretty hard to do it efficiently. And we see many of our customers struggling with this. So actually all of our customers, they are facing planning problems because you have a scarce or limited set of resources. These can be employees, like in shift rostering, but these can also be assets like vans, which you need to transport goods, or cranes, which you need in your warehouses. But other scarce resources are, of course, time and money, equipment, all those kinds of things. So planning puzzles are actually all around us. Employee shift rostering is just one of the examples. And these planning problems typically tend to be very hard to solve because we humans are not really designed to oversee a complex, multi-dimensional landscape of solutions and then find the most efficient answer to a complex question there. So as a philosophy which we employ, we say, well, we would like to help our customers and people to plan effectively, but we would also like to give the resources which you plan insight into how these plannings evolve and the tasks which you need to do are. So we give them insights into their daily tasks. So once you start to talk about planning, it's not only about, am I really smart using artificial intelligence to create a very efficient planning, but it's also about, am I able to visualize it to the planners on the planning desk or to the end users who are actually being assigned shifts in a roster? Can we help them do their work efficiently? Does it all look nice? Is it intuitive to use? Can, for example, somebody really easy in a mobile app say, I'm too sick today, so I can't work? And then can we notify a planner of that so we can automatically update the planning for him or her? So it's not only about planning, it's about actually the entire business process around this. And that's why we love Mendex so much, because with Mendex, it's not only about one specific application on your laptop, But now we can go full omni-channel with mobile apps, with even voice interactions or push notifications, so we can make really advanced user interfaces and UI UX flows happen, which really help our users at the end of the day. Because planning is a complex task, we want to make it easy from an algorithmic perspective, but also from a UI UX perspective. And that's why we think Mendex is really good. So what we did is we used Mendex and we combined it with our own planning engine. Our own planning engine is based on artificial intelligence, but all of that complexity is abstracted away with Mendex. So in the back end, our planning engine will do all the complex algorithms for our users. However, with Mendex, we all make that visual appealing and easy to use, which I will show you in a minute or two. So if you look at this from a software perspective, on the one hand side, we have the Mendex application, the template which you're about to see. That's of course highly customizable using low code, because that's what Mendex is. It contains lots of out-of-the-box, the template contains lots of out-of-the-box widgets which we've built, workflows which we've implemented. But for each and every customer, we see that we customize this further to suit the specific needs or business processes of these customers. So on the left side, Mendex is really customizable, including all kinds of integrations with ERP systems and stuff like that. On the right side, we see the planning engine. That's more standardized, of course. That's where all the complexity lies from an algorithmic perspective. So our planning engine contains lots of rule sets. It can be customized, but it contains lots of rule sets, pre-configured. You can also add your own. And it has all kinds of ways using artificial intelligence to create an optimal planning. So, well, key benefits of using Mendex here is that the user interface is customizable, and you can also, of course, employ fine-grained security. So not everybody can change objects, or not everybody can have the same rights, obviously. You can even make a fully multi-tenant application where every, for example, location of your business or every specific department or business unit can run their own planning cases inside one application. If you want to do this, you can. And all the data is hidden from each other. Of course, you have all kinds of integrations out of the box, and also import and export capabilities for Excel. And although every developer would like to have everything automated fully, in practice, we see Excel is still valuable to get data out and, for example, process it further towards suppliers or subcontractors for which you need to share data, which might not be using your application. And of course, there's this mobile capability, which we heavily rely on in many of our applications. Even with native and offline support nowadays, which is, I think, really competitive in the low-code market. So, well, let's quit talking and start showing, I would say. Let me switch my screen. Go here. Yeah, I see you guys can see it as well. I've already logged in for convenience. So what you're looking at now is our application for smart rostering. It's pretty empty right now, but we'll fill it up together in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. But I first would like to give you an introduction into all the concepts which we have pre-built in this template and which we use to, at the end, let the artificial intelligence do its work. So if you talk about planning, of course, you won't randomly assign employees to shifts. No, they need skills. So what we do here is we can configure the skills which are actually available within our company. The company you're about to see is actually a hospital. So what we plan to do here is we want to schedule hospital personnel in all these different areas or units inside the hospital. And for each unit, of course, you need to have one or more specific skills. So here are a few of the skills. Secondly, you have the spots or the units or the departments. So the anesthesia department or cardiology or critical care. And you can see which kinds of skills we think people need to work on those spots. Of course, you can configure this fully yourself as a user if you want to. So you can click everything together here and save it, obviously. So then we have contracts, because of course people, they work, but not everybody works the same amount of time. So you can configure here how many hours a week, for example, people are working, but we can also configure their, let's say, cost rate. This can be actual euros per hour, but of course it can also be more an abstract amount. This is used by the AI engine to optimize the cost of the resources which you assign shifts to. And now it becomes more interesting. You're the employees, so we have many people. I think we have like 100 right now loaded in this demo set, and they have different contracts and they have certain skills. And based on this, the engine knows which people are eligible for which shifts. But that moves us up to the availabilities. And now you also see a different type of screen. So if you work with Mendex, you typically see lots of these master detail screens and pop-ups and tables and grids and search grids and all that stuff. But with Mendex, you also have the ability to create custom widgets. So what you see here is a custom widget. It's actually a calendar view, like you would expect from Google Calendar or the tools Apple provides, something like that, where you basically can say, in this particular example, for every employee, what the availabilities are. So you see, for example, here this lady, Amy Cole, she said apparently tomorrow on Friday she rather doesn't work, so it's undesired for her, because she has soccer practice here. And as you can see, this is a recurring availability. So every week she has soccer practice from 6 to 9. So she doesn't want to work at that point in time. Later on in the demo, I will also create some new availabilities to show you how the AI will handle that. So that's about availabilities. Finally, before we really start to plan, we have this concept of rotations. And rotation is actually a template of shifts. So here you see the same calendar view, but now it's populated with all kinds of shifts. Basically, what this means is, for example, here for the department or spot anesthetics, between 6 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, I need 1 employee here. And I did not configure any preferred employees, which is why it says 0 here. For this other shift here, I have said I prefer flow to work. This is a particular employee. So here I can actually create a template saying these are all the shifts I need to assign to people. And I can also specify if I have a certain preference of people working. Of course, as you can see, flow is always preferred from 9 to 5 for some reason. And obviously, that's not allowed by law to let people work 7 days in a row always. So you will see the engine taking all of those kinds of things into account when we start to plan. So this is actually the template of the shifts that you need to assign automatically to people, taking into account all kinds of business rules, such as how many hours a week does somebody work, how many hours or days a week are you allowed to work, did you already work too much time in the weekends or in the nights, it's also not allowed. All those business rules, which are governed usually by law or by agreements between a company and its employees in their contracts, they are all caught in, let's say, planning rules defined in a planning engine, and the AI will try to respect as many rules as it can and then create an optimal planning out of that. And that's what we are about to see now. Because if you go to the shift view, we'll see again a calendar. And what we would like to actually do here is we would like to say, well, let's import a rotation. So the one which we've just shown you. Let's pick a date. What's the date today? The 9th. So let's start on next Monday, 13th. Yes, I'd like to import this. What I'm doing now is I say, well, I would like to have that rotation of a week, and I would like to start planning it. So now it's completely empty. You see none of the employees are assigned. We do have preferred employees, but we haven't assigned them yet. So you can see that here as well. It's still empty. We need 1 person. We do have a preference here, probably again flow, yes, but nobody is assigned yet, and that's what we'll do now. So what we will do is we will push a button here on the top, compute planning, and this is where we see integration capabilities of Mendex, because when I click this button, Mendex will collect all of these shifts from its database. It will collect all the employees, the contracts, previous shifts, because they tell you how an employee worked in the past, so it may not be able to work in the future anymore because of all kinds of rules. The skills, the spots, everything is now collected, and it's being sent through an integration with the planning engine, which runs on a different server somewhere in the cloud. It collects everything and it sends it to this backend server. The server is now calculating, doing all kinds of complex things, and once the result is done, it can be shown here. Actually, right now I need to manually refresh this. In production settings, this stuff will be it's automated, of course, and it will automatically refresh the results. But in this demo environment, I need to do this manually. So now the results are in. We go to the next week. Here it is. So what you see now is the engine automatically assigned all kinds of people to all of these shifts. And in Mendex, you visualize all of that. And of course, right away, you also see different colors here. So green means, for example, that the engine did a particularly good job. Why? Well, we can see actually those details. And it may not be a surprise to you, but Flo Lee here was apparently the preferred employee, and the engine respected that. So basically, you get, let's say, bonus points, which is why it's green. Gray means no bonus points, but it's okay, it's proper. And orange means that it's not an ideal planning, but it is allowed. So the engine says, well, no, there are rules which we violated, but these rules are not the most important ones, so it's okay. For example, here, this shift results in extra pay because apparently we're going outside of the bounds of somebody's contract, so we need to pay overtime. But if nobody else is available, this could be a perfectly fine decision, right? People might be on holiday or whatever. So that's what you see here. So now we have planned everything, and what we now can see is that, well, I would like to show you actually, that's in the Mendex, you have all these different ways of visualizing data. So you saw the calendar view. This is the same data in a different view. It's a grid view, just a regular old table, searches on top. But there are more views, and you can build your own views fully custom as well. So for example, I can also say I would not want a calendar view like a normal one. I would like to see the planning in a different kind of capacity. Although I don't, yeah, here we go. So in a planner view, so it's more of horizontal bars. I will have to browse, I think, to the proper day of the week to show you. Let's see where we are. Let's go to the week view. Browse to next week. This is a demo environment, so it may be a bit slow. Here we are, maybe a bit slowish every now and then. So here you get to see per department, for example, per day who is working. And I can also even see that on a daily level. So if I browse to the proper day, all of these departments, and get to see, for example, who is present in my hospital at which hours of the day. This could be convenient for planners for all kinds of different reasons. The point is that with Mendex, you're not bound to one or two specific ways of visualizing data, but instead you can build all kinds of different visualizations, which you can leverage to get a proper view of what's going on inside of your company. So let's now see if we can make some changes and force the AI to optimize. If you go back to the availability, remember Amy had the soccer practice. Here you see Amy again, now with assigned shifts. So what we could say here that, for example, she doesn't want to work here because she has a birthday party. Well, we can say that, right? So desirable birthday party. Right, so it's saved. It's now being stored in the Mendex database, but it's also automatically updating notifications from the planning engine. So you now see the shift changing to orange because the AI is now telling the Mendex app, listen, we have seen here that this shift is no longer planned very optimally because she doesn't want to work. We can even go, sorry, go a step further and say, well, maybe she's completely unavailable here in the morning because she needs to go to the doctor. So again, this is being stored in Mendex. The AI is going to reevaluate the planning real quick, and it will tell Mendex this shift is now even completely irrelevant. You can no longer do this. And if you go back to the shift view, you will also notice that there is this button on the top here, notification window, and it will now contain all kinds of warnings. And it will also tell me there's a specific hard constraint or important business rule I violated because Amy is not available while she had a shift. So we can now say, well, we may need to solve this one. And we can solve it manually, of course, by reassigning somebody else. But that's ideally not what you want. Instead, you would like to say, well, let the engine try to solve this problem for me. So let's proceed here, and we will ask the engine, can you try to solve this notification? So we had one hard constraint violation here. We are now asking the engine reevaluate the entire planning and see if it works. So if I refresh the solution, hopefully the AI found a better solution. That's the nice thing of AI, though. It's not like linear. It's not always giving you the same results. So that's interesting for me during demo time. It may have screwed it up further, which it actually did. There are now 2 notifications. we can check those out. Yeah. Okay. It made what happened now is the engine said, well, that unavailable shift, I will plan that away. But now 2 people do not have enough rest between 2 shifts. Of course, this is less bad, but it's still not allowed by law, which is why it's giving these notifications. So now you can see manually, maybe I need to hire somebody temporary to solve this, or maybe I need to take other precautions, or maybe I should drop a shift to make sure this can be solved. There are many actions you can take as a human here as well. With Mendex, we allow the user to, of course, always override what AI is saying. So I can go to this shift. I can look it up. It's Amy Golan and the statics again. Here it is. I can say, well, show me the shift, because apparently she's working too many hours in a row, because she's also working here as well and did not have enough breaks. I can now, as a human, say that, oh, let's override these settings. Let's assign it to somebody else. I could do that, and then based on that, I can force the AI to make different decisions if I want to. But let's not do that for now. The final thing which I would like to show you is that once you're done, what we can do is we can say we publish this. So let's say we are happy with the shifts. There are 2 notifications, but let's ignore them for now. Let's tell Mendex, well, I'm happy with this stuff. Please publish this. What we are basically then doing is we are locking the entire planning. We're saying we accept that this planning will be the planning for next week. It's locked, so I can no longer easily change all of these shifts. I still can if I want to, because somebody can be sick, of course, so I need to be able to override. But this will be now an explicit step, and the Mendex will warn you saying, please don't do this. Are you sure? Do you know what you're doing? At the same time, what's also happening behind the scenes is push notifications are sent to mobile devices of these users saying, listen, we have the next shift for you for next week, and you can push a button and it will show you the shift on your mobile phone. And there people can, for example, do other things with it. They can use it also to write their hours. So we also have a time registration module here, and stuff like that. So we take it further. Now the planner is done, and the employees can now do stuff on their mobile devices. I think that's too much to go into detail right now, but that's how we leverage, of course, also the mobile capabilities of Mendex. So that's what I would like to show you from a demo perspective. While I switch back to my slides, I would like to stress one very important thing, which is the following. Let's hit the play button. Yes. So please don't think Mendex is only there for planning. Mendex can be used for an insane amount of different use cases. It can be integrations with ERP. It can be to visualize IoT data. It can be used to automate processes for insurance companies, or for all the cases that Rick already outlined. This is an interesting example, we think, because of the nice ways of we can visualize data and use the mobile device in terms of increasing operational excellence. But of course, there are many different types of use cases which you can build. This is just an example to get you guys inspired. So to summarize what you've seen, you saw the user interface. We will customize this per customer, actually. So what you saw now is what you get out of the box when you use one of our templates, like this one. Usually we see that customers are customizing this to their own needs. If only they upload their own logo and change the styling or the colors, but of course you can go much further. And we've talked about mobile device support. We've talked about integration. So typically, the contracts which you've seen for the employees and the employees themselves, we don't manually enter them in Mendex. Typically, we get them out of some kind of HR system, for example. by employing an integration. Mendex has many integrations out of the box in the form of connectors, for example, to SAP or to all kinds of products from Siemens. But there is also the way to build your own custom integrations using leveraging REST and SOAP APIs, for example, if you have those. So Mendex is extremely flexible that way. And that's a really strong argument for using low code as well, because these integrations tend to be expensive to build manually. Finally, our engine supports also customer-specific planning rules. So those can be added as well. You've seen these concepts on the bottom, like employees, you've seen shifts, you've seen the engine enforcing business rules, and you've seen visualizations of the data. So there are, of course, many other use cases, not only hospitals. You can employ this for factories, plan people along production lines, for call centers. We actually are doing a case right now where you plan the entire stuff for a big call center, because you also have working shifts, like in the day and the evening. Facility management companies, cleaning, for example, people like that. Security companies, where you have security guards 24/7 on site, you need these rosters as well. So there are many use cases to which you could employ our planning solution with Mendex on top. Basically, everywhere where you work in shifts is a good use case for the demo you've just seen. So really quickly, before we open up the floor for Q&A, how we would like to help our companies with Mendex is these two things. Either we say, well, we build fully customized applications for you, leveraging the unique selling points of Mendex and low code in general. And we help you to set up completely your center of excellence. So if you want to build your own apps with Mendex, you definitely can. Actually, I would say you should. You should not fully rely on partners or software vendors. So we also often train up the developers that's on site at our customers. So that's something which we typically do. And of course, we have these templates which you can use to go even faster and leverage our pre-built knowledge we've put into those. So you can really quickly go to value. Typically, those projects only take 2 to 4 weeks to go from nothing to fully operational, which really allows you to quickly convince other stakeholders in your business that low-code development is definitely something you should do if you want to innovate, if you want to increase your operational excellence or have a better relationship with your customer. Low-code is definitely the way to go if you want to do that in a digital way. So you might have been racing through it a bit, but let's see if anybody has some questions. I know somebody from our company is monitoring chat. So let's see if there are some questions here. The first question I get is, can Mendex only be used for front-end applications, just as we've just shown? Rick, maybe you can take that one, because I'm pretty sure you have some good examples of where Mendex is used more for back-end processes as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we see that Mendex is used in a variety of use cases.
You are unmuted, but we can't hear you yet.
Oh, that is strange.
Oh, yes, I hear you.
Okay, great. So good question. So what we see is that Mendex is being used in a variety of use cases, broadly seen, so operational efficiency or innovation, but also in a variety of complexity. So yes, Mendex is ideal to quickly, build from an Excel sheet a cool-looking application, or smart rostering like we've seen now, which is more complex. But we also see that there's core systems being built with the Mendex platform. So currently working with the Dutch Postal Service to build their core system in Mendex using a microservices architecture, very mission critical. So there's a great variety of complexity of apps that you can build with the platform.
Cool. Well, thanks for that information, Rick. So indeed, we see many of those cases as well, or strong combinations between front and back end, so that yes, it's used to visualize information, but there may be going on a lot of things behind the scenes. Second question is, well, this looks really nice, so therefore it must be expensive. So what's the business model? Again, Rick, I would like to defer this one to you.
Good one again. Thank you. So business cases, with using the Mendex platform are often made with, first of all, the speed of development towards traditional methods, the cost of change, because it is a visual way and you're constantly involving the business. It's very easy to make changes while developing. So that's one. And what we also see is companies adopting the platform as a technology, not just to build their smart rostering, in this case, application, but to standardize their bespoke development in their organization, and therefore creating economies of scale from a resources point of view, but also as a licenses point of view. And that's why we don't have that many difficulties in making business cases for the Mendex platform.
Yeah, that's what we see indeed in practice as well. That because you gain so much speed, you will definitely earn it back. Also in the long run, by the way, don't forget, if you build an application with conventional technology and you run it on whatever server, all of that stuff needs to be maintained, including server and infrastructure, which typically Mendex does for you, or the Mendex platform does for you. So you will save up a lot of time and money and risk when you go for the Mendex platform as a tool. So that's important to stress. Another question we get is about, we've seen this template, to which degree can it be customized? Well, that's a good question. We see people going sometimes fully custom, and that I won't say there's nothing left of the template, but they really customize to a high degree, and we see people almost using it as you've seen today. So you can go in all directions. What we did is we separated the planning engine from the rest of the Mendex application. So if you build a fully customized Mendex app, you would still be able to leverage the planning engine. So that's good, I would say. And secondly, what you can also do is you reuse the widgets and build the rest of the application around it in your own way. So that's also a possibility. So the degree of customization is really, really high. And I see a question coming in on the chat now as well. Again, small question. It's really rapid, but the cost of license is prohibitive. How can you afford this issue?
Yeah, that comes back to the previous question. I think it depends also on the use case. When the functionality is limited, then it can be a negative business case. When there is, because it also comes with a starting point. However, if there's more complexity to it and there's several use cases, so several initiatives in an organization, then those business cases are easily made. So it depends. So Peter, perhaps it's good to discuss afterwards in this specific case.
Yeah, that's true. What's important to understand is that with Mendex, you have this platform, and if you build a single app and you have a strong business case for that one, that's fine. But usually we see it scaling really well in terms of ROI. So the positive side is that if you have multiple applications built with the platform, because then the price quickly drops per app and per user. So companies who are embracing low code as a strategic way of doing digitization, those companies benefit by far the most from employing such a platform as this, compared to companies who only embrace it for one application as a point solution. You can still do this. There are many viable business cases for that. For example, one of our customers leveraging this planning template, which you've just seen, they could make a positive business case out of doing much less manual planning, and that people from the service desk do other jobs. And there was a business case all by itself. But indeed, if you have smaller applications, this one's pretty elaborate, right? If you have smaller applications, usually you would benefit more from the platform and go and build at scale. So make it larger. Then you would benefit most. I don't see any other questions coming up. If people have them, this would be the time to ask. Otherwise, I would definitely like to thank Rick. Thank you for your time. And
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I would like to sign off then with saying you all get an email with a recording of this video, so you can rewatch it later. Link to YouTube video of only the demo itself, and some more content. So if you're interested in that, we'll definitely set you up with some additional material so you can look at more details. Thank you everybody for your time, and until next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.